Infernal blessings. We are back with another video. Excuse the lighting, it's a bit dark. It's early in the evening, so the lighting may not be that great on this video. Alright, before we begin, a couple quick announcements. If you would like to book a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different types of spiritual readings, telepathic demonic readings, shadow work readings, which I've said many times is a great thing to do at any point, but especially if you're looking for the direction you need to be heading in, at the current moment in your life. Shadow work readings are great because people always ask, what kind of ritual work should I be doing? What direction should I be going in, this, that, or the other? And the shadow work reading is a great thing to do to point you in that right direction. I offer deity readings to see what spirits, gods, and goddesses walk with you. Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings. Shoot me an email if you want to book a reading or a consultation. And in that email, please include a full weekly availability, the days and times you're available throughout the entire week. On a weekly basis, and the time zone that you're in, which is very important and critical due to the fact, as I've said many times before, because I work with people in time zones all within the United States, outside of the United States, overseas, Africa, Europe, you name it. All right, if you want to sign up for classes, the way to sign up for classes, go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, Tier 3. Tier 3 is going to give you access to all of the classes. I do 3 every month on Patreon, private classes for Patreon members only, and a group ritual we do together at the end of the month. And when you do join the Patreon page, again, you don't just get access from the day you join moving forward. You get access to everything in the archives going back 4+ years. So I have a bunch of ongoing series of classes on various left-hand path occult topics. If you're looking for something where you really want to master this path, you really want to learn about this path, you want to study intensely and deep, you want to do the ritual work, this, that, and the other, trust me, you won't be disappointed. For what I'm offering and what I'm offering it for, I say this again with confidence, not arrogance. Nobody's offering what I'm offering. Trust me when I tell you that. And there's a bunch of ongoing series. When you go onto my Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. When you go on there, go to the collection section, and you can see all of the various different ongoing classes that are happening right now. Okay? And I'm constantly adding new content to those classes and adding new classes frequently. Okay, shadow work classes, Egyptian vampiric class, Sith dark side alchemy and philosophy class, telepathic sorcery, Luciferian magic and self-mastery. There's a bunch. Esoterical occult Bible study class, which is one of my favorites. Check it out. I mean, I'm sure there's something there. And you also, in the archives, get all of the ritual and group work we do in the classes. All of that's there. All right, so check it out, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, Tier 3. Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, one word. Check us out on Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. And I also upload all the new YouTube content to the Facebook page. And then don't forget to check us out. The TikTok page is up and running now at Primordial Chaos on TikTok. Don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast page, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. All right? So, if you need to, again, book a reading, all the aforementioned, my contact email address, all the links to the social media pages, the link to the Primordial Chaos podcast, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page for classes, all of that is in the description box of this video that you're currently watching right now. All right, it's not going to be a long video at all. I want to kind of piggyback off the last video when, we've been talking about various different things. The last one, we were talking about where is the spirit world? Where is it? You guys gave me a great response to that video. So there's something I wanted to do that's connected to this. And I was talking about your divinity or your godhood or goddesshood and your mortality. Which one are you embracing, your divinity or your mortality? Okay? Now, a lot of the things talked about in the previous video, and a lot of these concepts, for some that don't know, it's hard for people to understand and grasp, or I want to say understand. Well, understand in the sense that they don't want to accept their divinity. And we've been programmed from day one to succumb to our mortality. And I'm not saying this in no spooky sense. I'm not saying that shit, don't be in the world at all and don't have any type of indulgence or materialistic things. That's not what I mean when I say that. When we're talking about you as a spiritual being, right? Divinity, right, ties into godhood, deityship, apotheosis, self-mastery. I liken it, and I still got to get around to watching that second Aquaman. I haven't. But I want to refer to what I've, in the past, when you look at the story of Aquaman, the movie, right, which really is the story, as I've said in the past, that represents you as an adept, as a practitioner on this path. Right, I use that because it's something very simple that you can connect with the point I'm trying to make in this video. Right, if you've seen that movie, Aquaman struggles because the story goes he's half mortal, a human, and he's a god, one of the gods from Atlantis in the underworld. He has a struggle accepting that and understanding it and how to put it into context. So the whole movie is him searching for his divinity, his godhood. And as you know, long story short, because I don't want to make this about Aquaman, but you see at the end, he comes to the realization that he is a god. Even though he has a mortal side of his nature, like we all do, but he is a god. And then you see him in that, they showed it in the previews, and then at the end of the movie, you see him standing on top of the great beast Leviathan with the trident, and he has it, perched on top of the dragon or the beast Leviathan, which is symbolic as shit. So much symbology in that, right? Everything, he's mastered his chaos, right? He's connected to the primordial energy that he was manifested from. Now he understands it. So they're also in that symbology, they're trying to communicate some level of knowledge and consciousness to you. All right, having said all that, that really represents you. This is you. When you're on this path, it's a journey, and you're constantly going through trials and tribulation, and you're seeking the divine within. That's what you're doing when you're on this path. Because you've now started a journey on a path that is, in a nutshell, that's your goal. Right? You're trying to strip away the illusionary aspects of the self, all the mortal ways that you have embraced that is holding you down, that is creating blockages on your spiritual path of growth. So you're wrestling with your mortality and your divinity. That's what the Set Hey Ruth represents, right? Anytime you see the story of Set Hey Ruth, Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau, Enki and Leah, when it always represents the two warring brothers, it's the internal battle between the higher self and the lower self, or the weaker self. In a nutshell, that transitions right into today. You're constantly in an internal battle with your higher self and your lower self. When we talk about low vibrational frequencies, low frequencies in general, when it comes to spirituality, it's the human and mortal side of your nature that feeds off of those low frequencies. They know this. So they create, when I say they, the powers that be that have an agenda, because the powers that be, it's all about money, power, and control in this materialistic world. Whoever has the knowledge, the wealth, and the power, they're in control. So if they can control you through those type of tangible things, it's very easy to get you to do whatever they want you to do. Okay? So they get you vibrating on a very low frequency, because when you're vibrating on a very low frequency, it's easy to tap into an individual and give subliminal suggestions, or enter into the individual's subconscious mind, systems of indoctrination and programming. All of that becomes easy if I can get you to vibrate as a low vibrational frequency being. So the war every day, and I've been saying this for years now, it's an internal battle, people. That's why I said this is an inward journey out, not an outward journey in, not from somewhere out there in the sky. See, religion deprograms you. How? Because religion is showing you the path and the journey, and they're reversing the process. Because for an example, in just about any religious dogma that deals with some source or creator, and especially Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, they're teaching you to look, one, as I said many times before, very far away from yourself, right? They're teaching you to look outside of yourself, and not just outside of yourself, but they're teaching you to look far away from yourself. So their goal is to get you as far away from the truth as they possibly can. So they got you looking in the clouds, somewhere up there in the sky, the heavens, and in outer space, and all this spooky mumbo jumbo shit. Okay? So in essence, what those religions do is it deprograms you. And then it reprograms you with their agenda. So now you got generations upon generations of people looking for the answers to the truth of life and death and the mysteries of creation and the world and soul and spirit, this, that, and the other. All the things we study for, they're looking for it somewhere outside of their self, which negates the very first Hermetic principle. All is mental, mental is all. The universe is mental. Okay? As I said before, when you look at the Baphomet, I want to make this clear. When I was talking about the spirit world last time, it's going to connect to this too here. Everybody loves to talk about the Baphomet. Oh, Baphomet this, Baphomet that. It can be a little bit, I don't know if annoying is the right word, but it's so widely used in a multitude of different aspects, but it's never really looked at it in a deep esoterical perspective. Everybody loves to say, yeah, the Baphomet as above, so below. But I always say that second statement is more important. As within, so without. Right? And this comes up too because earlier with one of my students in the mentorship program, we had a brief discussion about this earlier today. So it brings it to mind now as I'm shooting this video. As I've told you guys before, there is no above and below. Okay? There's only as within, so without. That statement, the above and the below, is to take your direction and focus away from up there and down there. Why? Because religion created that heaven and hell concept, and they placed you smack in the middle. God, man, devil. And you're in the middle of that equation. But when you look at it from an esoterical perspective, as I said before, the Baphomet has his hands or fingers in this position. When he levels them, it's level straight with the heart chakra or the center. And as I said in the last video, when you're the center of your universe you're El-Cooked, everything is vibrating around you and you're in control. When you're off that axis or center, you're not. Okay? It even says in the Bible, God doesn't dwell in places made by man's hands. Then why are all these churches being built by human beings and people flock to these churches every week? Which one is it? It also says in the Bible, the kingdom of heaven resides within man. Is within. Kingdom of heaven is within. So again, why is there this external focus? That's why I said in the last video, the spirit world is interwoven. The planes are interwoven around you. You have to break the veil by speeding up your vibrational frequency. It's that simple. And then you can connect to the spirit world like that. Stop looking up there, down there, over here, left, right, this, that, and the other. It doesn't exist. As I said before, when you look at the esoterical teachings of what Jesus was saying, the character Jesus, whatever you want to refer to it as, he was dropping jewels. See, things like, I'm God. Blasphemy, how can you be God? And then what did he tell them in John 10:34? Is it not written in your law? I said that ye are gods. He's referring to Psalms chapter 82. Now read the whole chapter, because people only quote the one verse. When King David's talking to the children of Israel, and he says, ye are gods, children of the Most High. That's what Jesus was quoting. But the very next verse says, but ye will die like men. Why am I pointing that out? Because I'm trying to show you, you have that dual nature. You have a mortal side to your nature and the divine or the divinity of your nature. Okay? That comprises of what makes up this concept. That's what we mean when we say God. We're not talking about some fictitious spirit being that's sitting on the clouds with a long white beard passing judgment on the world. That's fairy tales and spookism. We're talking about this concept. And what really the esoterical breakdown of what Jesus was teaching, he was trying to say. He would say stuff like, when you see me, you see God. What? They so misinterpreted it. So you're saying you're God? They thought he was saying that he was their God, and their God, or their concept of their God, is that spooky God sitting somewhere out there in the sky. So they didn't understand it when he said things like that. You see me, you see God. He was referring to that statement. We're all children of God, children of the Most High. Okay? He was dropping jewels on it, but they weren't grabbing it. They were interpreting it because they were so busy trying to find fault in what he was teaching that they were just trying to find ways to trap him and get him to commit and say this, that, and the other. And that's just not the case. Okay? So there's many ways I can present this. The question now, are you, again, and I'm going to leave it here, are you embracing or are you gravitating more and embracing the mortal side of your nature or the divinity that resides within you? Okay? Now you need both, but you need to figure out the harmonization or the formula of how that plays out for you. So you definitely can't surrender to the mortality part of yourself completely, right? At the foundation and the core, you must be focused at the root of your divinity. And then you'll know in the right moments and times and places and due seasons and this, that, and the other of when it's necessary to tap into your mortality or your mortal side. Okay? That's the point I'm trying to get you to see here. Okay? Now, and let me leave you with this. Now, the mistake people make, and this is why people sometimes are out of whack, out of alignment, not in good harmonization or synchronization with their spirituality, is because they tend to lean to one more than the other. This is important. I always make reference to this concept with the pendulum, right? When the pendulum swings too much to one side, it's that old adage, too much of anything is no good for you. But is the pendulum really still? People say, well, it's balanced. And I don't really like to use the word balance because it means stasis and stagnation still, because nothing ever rests according to the 7 Hermetic principles. So technically it's still vibrating, it's still moving, but it's centered, right? Which is in correlation to what I was saying earlier. You're on the center of your axis and everything is evolving around you. But when you're leaning to one side more than the other, that creates disharmony, creates a disconnect. Some people are more caught and they're a slave to their mortality, that all they chase is mortal things, whether it's sex, drugs, materialistic possessions. They have to do things that entertains them. All they do is feed the mortality side of their nature. Everything's about partying and fun and hanging out and buying things and being so mesmerized by materialistic things. Now, I'm not saying this to say you shouldn't live life to the fullest. You should. It's okay to have nice things. It's okay to spend money. It's okay to have fun. All those things I just mentioned, but not to the point where it's your main focus and it consumes and destroys you. That's where the disconnect and the disharmony comes in. And it works the other way too. This is where people get it fucked up. Then you have the others who are so spiritual. They're spiritual all the fucking time. They're so spiritual. Everything's spiritual. I meditate all the time. I fast and eat grass, and I levitate, and I do everything is spiritual. They're so deep, heavy, and spiritual. They've just completely rejected every aspect of their human nature or mortality. And that sometimes is even worse than somebody who is purely trapped into the material plane and materialistic things. That, too much of anything, is no good for you. I've said this before. So playing spiritual holy art thou 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's not good for you either. It's real simple in harmonizing that out. Sometimes, you get up, it's a day. Maybe you've been doing a lot of spiritual work. Sometimes you just got to kick back, relax. Maybe you watch a movie, you just chill, you relax, you read. When you're locked in, your spirit will tell you, you got to get to work. You haven't done no ritual. We need to do it. Your spirit will communicate these things to you. It will let you know. Your personal daemon will let you know, hey, man, you've been slacking a bit. You need to get on the ball. Hey, man, you've been going intense hard. Let's just relax and chill today. Let's recuperate, recharge. Right? This is the harmonization between your mortality and your divinity. And sometimes it's about having fun, kicking back. But there are going to be stretches and periods where you might have to go hardcore a bit spiritually, this, that, and the other. But when you're locked in and connected, you'll know the natural times and seasons and when to do these things. It's clear. So it's about understanding both of those aspects so you can be connected correctly on both sides of that spectrum, your mortality and your divinity. So ask yourself, which one are you embracing more? That's simple. All right, I'm going to leave that there. I hope this video helped you. I'm going to wrap it up again. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual consultation or a reading, if you want to sign up for classes, the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, check that out. If you want the direct link to the podcast, the social media pages, all those links, contacts for classes, readings, updates, social media pages, everything is in contact email address. Everything is in the description box of this video you're watching right now. It's going to do it for me. I'm out. I'll see you guys on the next video. Infernal blessings.